So you got your hands on Ezio, the free legendary champion from the Sacred Order as part of the Assassin's Creed collab. Congratulations. Let me tell you right out the gate, you're gonna love this champion. In today's video, we're gonna go over masteries, we're gonna go over blessings, relics, what stats you need, and the best builds depending on where you are on your account for Ezio. Let's jump right into it. All right, Ezio Auditore. He is a Sacred Order Spirit Affinity champion, and he looks just freaking incredible. Does he not, guys? I gotta say, man, I just love the aesthetics. I love the look on Ezio. As a matter of fact, let me put on my own assassin garb. Be right back. All right, your boy is ready to go. We're ready to go. Ezio. What does he do? Why is he so good? His aura is speed in all battles. You love to see it. You can use it, obviously, everywhere, which is saying a lot because Grim Forest, Cintranos, Siege, there are no particular auras that are especially for those areas except for all battle auras. On his A1 ability, he has a decreased defense at 100% land rate that can't be resisted if he's under Veil or Perfect Veil. On the Da Vinci's design, Leo's design is an AoE on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Now, there is 5 books, skill tomes that go into this move, but if you like this guy, if you think he can help your account, it is imperative to book him out, especially for this A2 ability. It's an AoE attack, 100% chance to place 2 poisons and a poison sensitivity on all enemies for 2 turns. Can't be resisted again if he's under a Veil or Perfect Veil. It will also instantly activate all poison debuffs on enemies under 4 or more debuffs. This is key. This is crucial. To me, it's the most powerful move in his kit. If any enemies are under Stone Skin, has a 100% chance of placing 2 bomb debuffs on them instead that detonate after 2 turns, okay, instead of the poisons. However, if all enemies are under Stone Skin, then that's going to be a 1-turn detonation, aka instant death. Granted, you need all enemies to be under that. Now, the bomb damage is predicated and based on his attack, okay? So is his raw damage. And if you're using Arakan Elixir, you're going to want more attack because that is also based on attack. Lastly, his assassin extra damage bonus is based on his attack. So attack is a huge stat when building Ezio. On the A3 ability, Hidden Gun attacks 1 enemy before attacking, steals all buffs from the target. Keep in mind, Stone Skin is a 50-50 steal when they have it on it from a Stone Skin set, the Stone Skin buff. It cannot be resisted if this champion's under a Veil or Perfect Veil, ignores 35% of target's defense as well as shield and strengthen, and it can hit pretty hard. That's on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Everything is permitted is his assassin bonus damage. Whenever an enemy drops below 25% after receiving damage from any assassin, they receive additional bonus damage proportional to this champion's attack that cannot be critical, and it will ignore 100% of target's defense. So basically, that's raw damage predicated on his attack. Full synchronization is a perfect veil in this champion at the start of each round for 2 turns. Great, especially for the arena, because all of his debuffs cannot be resisted. Whenever this champion is about to receive fatal damage that would exceed 50% of his max HP, has a 35% chance of decreasing the damage to 0 instead. That's fantastic. Just keep in mind, he has to have 50% of his max HP damage. Ergo, you can actually build this champion with not a lot of HP. It doesn't scale that well anyway at 16k, okay? That way you can trigger that faster and you can decrease that incoming damage to 0. Just keep in mind, it's only a 35% chance. So 35% chance isn't a lot. Ergo, I would build him with some survivability in mind in addition to the Veil or Perfect Veil that he brings on his own. Perfect Veil will mitigate also 15% of AoE damage, and it will make them untargetable for single target attacks. Whenever the champion is attacked, he has a 35% chance to counterattack, which is beautiful. That means more decreased defense off his A1, which again is 100% land rate if you have him booked, which I think you should. All right, so what stats do we want? Of course, attack. Listen, this guy deals nice damage, especially that A3 Hidden Gun, but even his A1 has decent multipliers, has decent damage. But my favorite part about this guy, honestly, is the poison or the bombs, okay? You could use them on a poison activation team. He can be your placer and your activator. And if you're using Arakan Elixir, as I already mentioned, which I think you should with this champion, attack is going to be a great stat for him. Also, making cruel gear and any gear that gives you extra attack bonus, like Merciless, is going to be a great choice for for Ezio. Let's talk more about his gear sets, but the last stat that I want to mention right now is his crit rate, his crit damage, and his accuracy. For longer battles, it's not guaranteed that he's always going to be under a perfect veil, especially in PvE environments, right? Not in the arena. Thus, I would encourage you guys to build him with accuracy in most situations in PvE. Meaning, I would build him with around 200 to 300 accuracy if you're targeting hard level dungeons, preferably around 300. Otherwise, about 10 points of accuracy per stage that you're on. So Dragon 10 would require around 100 accuracy on your Ezio to play things on the safe side. Now let's go into my favorite builds for this champion. All right, guys, so crit rate, crit damage. I think it would behoove you to build Ezio in all PvE environments, right, against bosses, not in the arena, everywhere outside the arena. I think you should build him with 100% crit rate and then stack on crit damage where and when you can find it. To some early game accounts, that might mean just putting crit rate on the gauntlets as I have here, or obviously some mid game accounts and end game accounts. You could of course put crit damage on the gauntlets and then try to find that crit rate in your substats to make sure it gets to 100% and go crit damage on the amulet as well as a source for more raw damage. Now the most basic build on Ezio, but a totally fine build, is going to be triple perception. Now you could also combo this with cruel gear or with even savage and a perception, whatever you have on your account, but the most basic version is triple perception, or even accuracy to very, very new players out there, which you can farm in Dragon's Lair, okay? Getting that accuracy is nice, especially in PvE, as I said, but of course it matters too in the arena after the perfect veil wears off, unless you have another veil champion on your team, which he pairs very well with, especially Rector Drath. I absolutely love pairing Ezio with. Either way, triple perception, it gets the job done, because a lot of his damage is going to come from those poisons, right? So you want to make sure that you can land them in every single situation. The next PvE build that I want to share with you guys is this one. Switching over to Lethal and Cruel, right? A little bit more of a punch that he's packing here, which combos very nicely, especially with his A3, where he's already ignoring 35% of target's defense. So now we're going to get 60% ignore defense on this A3 because we get an additional 25% from obviously the lethal gear or the savage gear, okay? Now Merciless obviously works very well with him as well. 9-piece Merciless, newsflash, it's going to be fantastic on a champion like Ezio as well. So some of the OP 9-piece sets are going to be great just depending on your needs. You can consider feral gear. You land all those debuffs. So a 9-piece feral set, especially in longer battles with an Ezio, is a great consideration if you can pull it off on your end game or more end game account, because he's dishing out all of those poisons and the poison sensitivity along with the decreased defense. So with a feral set, 9-piece, you can get that bonus damage, because keep in mind, on feral gear, you get this. 9-piece, allies deal 5% more damage for each debuff placed by the wearer. Fantastic synergy there, but you know, just like 9-piece Merciless, yeah, sure, if you have the gear, it's nice, but most people don't have enough good gear to be putting it on Ezio, but it's certainly a consideration. Listen, Lethal and Cruel will get the job done. A lot of damage, just make sure you don't totally neglect accuracy there as well. I have crit damage on the gauntlets, I have attack percentage on the chest, and I have speed on the boots. So this is a good overall PvE build. We're aiming for around 200 to 250 speed on this champion with 100% crit rate and as much accuracy as we can get on him. And of course, attack does matter if you're wearing the Arakan Elixir Relic, or if you're equipped with the Arakan Elixir Relic. Now this relic was made for champions like Ezio. So you can get the Arakan Elixir Relic from Faction Wars Hard Mode. Faction Wars Hard Mode, it's a rare relic there. If you are not yet at Faction Wars Hard Mode, no worries at all. Wand of Submission, well, it always gets the job done. So if you have any Wands of Submission on your account, that's going to be fantastic. Another option, just to give you guys more options on your account, is the Arethi Coronet. This is a great relic that does more damage depending on how many debuffs that the wearer places on the target. So especially, again, in longer battles, you can get more raw damage from your Ezio with the Arethi Coronet. So now I've given you a relic option in every single rarity. What about PvP. What about PvP options? Well, for PvP, my favorite way, and like I said, it's not the only way, but my favorite way to build Ezio is kind of like you would a Nell, who's a mythical champion, and she's really hard to get. But Ezio is a mini Nell, not because he has poisons on his passive, but rather because those poisons can deal so much damage to your opponent on that A2, or the bombs can deal so much damage to your opponent, depending on the situation. But I like 4-piece pinpoint with a 4-piece stone skin. Now, this is kind of a more endgame build, but you want some protection on this champion, so stone skin works well. Granted, he does have a perfect veil at the beginning of the round too, so maybe you can get by without it in some situations. You could even maybe consider mercurial gear as well if you have it on your account. But pinpoint's going to be great. It's going to give him an intercept stack to mitigate, of course, sheep polymorph in the game. So I like building him kind of in a similar way that I do build my Nell. So a little bit more end game in terms of the gear that I have on him right now. But pinpoint and stone skin, man, I was really impressed with what this dude can do in the arena in this build. So Arakan Elixir again, we want to stack up as much attack as humanly possible. Almost 7,000 attack without an awakening here. So on this build, guys, I have attack percentage with attack percentage on the gauntlets and the chest. I do have accuracy here, which isn't the end of the world, but ideally attack percentage, because we want to get more oomph out of course, that Arakan Elixir, right, which does damage based on the attack of the champion. So thus, his bombs and his poisons will go up in terms of their effectiveness with that extra attack. And then I have speed on the boots. Of course, you could go attack percentage as well, depending on your team and your gear and your turn order, but I went with speed on the boots here. We want attack on the ring, we want attack on the or crit damage, but attack on this build on the amulet. And guess what? We want attacker accuracy as well on the banner. We have attack here in this build. So again, this is all out attack, and this is my favorite arena build early on for this champion. I want to do the masteries together with you guys, and I want to talk about 2 mastery builds, one for the arena and one for general PvE. Before we do that, let's talk blessing really quickly for when you do get a blessing for this champion. Now, in the arena with this champion, we want to go with lethal dose, right? Lethal dose increases the damage enemies receive from poison debuffs placed by this champion in arena and siege battles. This is going to help you out tremendously in the arena. Lethal dose is the way to go. If you have him in stone skin, even at 1-star awakening, we want to consider Lightning Cage. Lightning Cage will help protect that stone skin and any other buffs that he does have. So Lightning Cage is a great option for him. You could consider Intimidating Presence for this champion if he is your aura lead, if you intend on using him as your speed lead in a bunch of different situations. You could even consider using him in a Brimstone if you are building it for accuracy in PvE only. Same thing goes with Polymorph in PvP only to turn your opponents into sheep if you have enough accuracy or if you have a 6-star blessing. So those are some of the blessings I would consider, with one more shout out, and that is Nature's Wrath. Nature's Wrath, kind of like the Arethi Coronet, they pair very well together. This is going to give you extra damage inflicted by this champion for every debuff they successfully place. Nature's Wrath, very powerful, especially in longer battles against bosses, with him dishing out all those debuffs. Just make sure you're building him to do some damage too with 100% crit rate if you are going to take advantage of the Arethi Coronet as well as the Nature's Wrath blessing. All right, let's do masteries together. All right, so no matter what, we want to go offense and support on Ezio. So on offense, we could go with crit rate, crit damage, but if you wanted to build him with the Arakan Elixir strategy that I absolutely love in the arena, we could just go with attack, because we could always use more attack. Now on this build, we're going to stick with I'm going to do one arena battle with this build, but we're going to build him for PvE, kind of an all-around build, right? So we're going to go crit rate, we're going to go crit damage. We're going to go down to single out. If you're a new player, by the way, I recommend not just blindly copying your masteries. I would actually read the masteries. How we get better at this game is we read the skills of enemies that we don't know about, and then we read the masteries as we choose them. So I'm going to go down with Bring It Down. Increase damage when attacking enemies with higher max HP. I'm going to come down to Methodical out of his base skill. And at this point, we can go with either War Master, generally for PvE environments, or If we have him built as a nuker in the arena in Savage or Stone Skin, we want to go that route, we can go with Helm Smasher. For today's video, we're going to go with War Master. It's a nice all-around mastery, especially good against bosses, extra damage there, nothing wrong with that. We're going to go with Pinpoint Accuracy, we're going to go with Charge Focused, and Swarm Smiter, the 3 accuracy staple masteries on the support tree. We're also going to go with, depending on how you have them built, if you have them Perception Gear, 2-piece sets, Lore of Steel will be a good option for this champion. You can go with Eagle Eye, you can even go with Cycle of Magic. We're going to go with Lore of Steel, and we're going to go with Master Hexer. Master Hexer is very good on him. It will extend the duration of all of his debuffs that he brings to the table. Poisons, poison sensitivity, and decreased defense on that A1. If you're going to book this champion out, there's no need to pick up Sniper. Everything's going to be 100% land rate anyway for you guys. So when you're doing masteries on any of your champions, I recommend picking just one mastery in the 2 categories that you want to go for. And then you can fill in the rest, because you don't want to get caught where you really need a mastery and you already have 2 selected in another area, and then you have to pay the gems to reset it from there. So now we can pick and choose depending on how we want to use this champion. I want a little bit of survivability from him, so I'd like to pick up Life Drinker, but this champion works really, really well with Arcane Celerity. Has a chance of increasing his turn meter whenever a debuff cast by this champion is removed or expires. Well, he's expiring his own debuffs with the instant activation on the A2, so we're going to pick up that Arcane Celerity, and we're going to go buy the Life Drinker and pass it up this time. We don't need Sniper, and we don't need Spirit Haste, so I'm going to go with Kill Streak. He will be killing a lot of enemies. I'm also going to go with Cycle of Magic on this champion, and we're going to go ahead and end things off with Heart of Glory, increasing his damage dealt. So this is a nice all-around mastery build for Ezio, guys. Let's go ahead and start out really quickly in the arena with this build, and then I want to show you him on a speed run PvE team and talk about how you can utilize him as your poison activator and speed farm almost anywhere wave content in Raid Shadow Legends or even in dungeon content to get to that boss level. All right, let's go against this squad here. Ooh, he kind of scares me. Honestly, and look at me, I'm hogging the middle of the damn screen. Man, my hair is... Okay, we're going to give up. We're going to give up on the assassin. We're getting serious here, guys. We're getting serious. No assassin, Ash. And stop hogging the whole screen, Ash. What the heck are you doing, man? All right, here we go. So my team is not equipped to deal with a Calvalax right now. Let's go against the squad instead. So look at the team that we have on him. What's the most important buff for this sort of strategy that we're employing? And generally, what are the 2 most important buffs that we can get on Ezio, who's very well protected over there in the left-hand side of the screen, right? He has his Pinpoint Intercept, he has his Veil, and he has his Stone Skin. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. And again, I will say Lightning Cage is a beautiful option for this champion, not just the Stone Skin for a blessing, but also to protect his perfect Veil, which is essential. Not just essential because we want to keep him alive, but essential to get the unresistibility out of his moves. So we're going to go in here. We want an increased attack champion on him. It's imperative that we're setting him up with an Arbiter or somebody on your team that can land and increase attack. Thus, we can go in there and we can get extra damage, even more, out of his A2 ability. So here's his A2. We're going to come in here and boom, that's the magic of Ezio, ladies and gentlemen, right? The poisons are, that's it. They're all dead. This is why I absolutely love this build. You guys are going to love it too, man. Ooh, I see some, ooh, what is that? Nubs, what are you doing over here, bro? Who has a faster Arbiter, me or Nubs? Ooh, it looks like I do. But is she fast enough? It looks like she is. So we're going to, you can see his Ezio is built very similar to my Ezio there. We're going to come in here and we are going to, well, here it is. Boom. So in this situation, we don't have enough debuffs to kill the enemy team. But what do we have? We have the Arakan Elixir. Thus, all they really need to do, the enemy, is kind of take a turn. And they're going to be deado from all that poison damage. I'm going to go in there and I am going to try to, and look at that. I mean, this is Cassandra, by the way, the fusion champion. I kind of like her too. I did a whole video on her a few days ago if you want to check it out. But that is the magic of Ezio, guys. I think he's going to be a menace in the arena. A lot of power to him, especially if you're lacking, you know, the Nellos and some of the most meta champions in the arena. But that's not all. You can use him in a variety of ways. Any boss is susceptible to poison damage in this game. It could even be the old school clan boss. He's going to be very good for you guys in old school clan boss situations. I ran him on a team like this. He was fantastic, okay? Fantastic. He's the poison sensitivity. He's got the decreased defense at 100% on the A1. That's a lot that he brings to the table against any boss. But you can also use him as a poison combustor anywhere in the game. Again, wave content, whatever. In a team like this, right? We're at Doom Tower hard. All you got to do is pair him with a bunch of poisoners and some reset champions. So I'm using a couple resetters and I'm using a couple poison champions. Now, on the team setup with a team like this, I know some of these champions are really empowered and stuff, but this is something that you guys can set a goal towards when you have 2 resetters on your account. You don't need 2 resetters in a boss stage, by the way. In a dragon stage, I only need 1 reset champion. You could use even a Donatello as a modified reset. Donatello with a 2-turn cooldown works beautifully with him as well. So you could use Donnie instead. The most important thing here, though, is speed tuning. We want to make sure that Ezio is going. Let me change the build here now that I say that, right? We want to go back to the damage build away from, or the PvE build, excuse me, away from the one that we were just using. I'll be real, guys. This Assassin's Creed IP collab, for me, I'm not a huge fan. I don't think that I don't think there's they can hold a candle, frankly, to, I'm going to go basic perception gear on him here, right? Just super basic build, right? I don't think they can hold the candle to the Ninja Turtles collab, frankly. That's my opinion. But he is a shining light in this Assassin's Creed collab for me. Like, I think he's a really, really fun champion. He's the best champion in the entire game? No. But he's one that I think almost every player can extract some value from. So we have this set up to where basically he's going to be our combustor, right? We just want to make sure that he's going last and he's slower than our other poison champions. So he's 1 speed slower. All right. We got to be careful, though, because masteries that give him speed, it's going to screw things up. So let me just make sure that Taurus is maybe a little bit faster. Taurus, by the way, I mention it all the time. He's the best epic in the game when it comes to poisons on AoE. So definitely pick him up. Going to give him a little bit of speed just so Ezio doesn't climb in front of him. But this is how he can work on a poison combust team. Poisons, more poisons, Ezio comes in, and boom. Everybody's kind of dead, right? Almost there, almost there. Luckily, it's not going to matter. We take him down. Here we go. Let's try it again. Come in here. We land poisons and more poisons. And then, boom, everybody's evaporated by Da Vinci's design. There it is. Man, I think he's a really cool champion. Hopefully this video has helped you guys out, honestly. I think that everywhere from, areas like Grim Forest, Centranos, Curse City, Demon Lord. I mean, there's PvP. I think he's very versatile as well. He definitely has a lot of things that you can appreciate in a variety of different areas in the game. All right, guys, so we're going to end it there. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. You found it useful. I really like this champion. I consider him like a B+, A- champion in the game. Maybe better, just depending on what you need on your account. Hey, guys, if you want to chill even more, why don't you watch my video that I did on Cassandra, the Fusion champion, or you can check out the collab that I did with Nub Raids, where we picked our best and our worst legendary in every faction of the game. Thanks for watching, and as always, take care, guys.